both leant back on their arms, watching their girls play in the sea. Imogen was patiently leaping with a squealing Sancerre in and out of the waves near the shore. Rachel was swimming along the bay, strong and sure.
It'd be grand to have a stroke like that.
Richard's voice was envious. He was a terrible swimmer. Margo had tried to teach him, but he was too proud and impatient. I don't want her to go out of sight.
Stop worrying so much and drink your wine.
Margo looked up at the spindly trees leaning at an angle over the beach, sending long shadows at sunset. This beach could feel like it only belonged to her in winter. Today, they might as well have been by the Mediterranean, with all the smart ribs and speedboats crowding the water, just a short swim away from the shore. There were bronzed bodies everywhere. One thing she didn't need to worry about was Richard looking at any other woman. He only ever had eyes for her. She watched as he leant over and sloppily tipped the last of the bottle into his glass. She knew better than to say anything.
I'm boiling. Shall we have a swim?
Mostly, it was a happy day. It took hours for Richard to get drunk, and before he did, he played cricket with his daughters, threw Sancerre high up in the air, made them all laugh with his terrible handstands in the sea. Then he slept it off in the shade of the trees. The beach had started to empty, while Margo was fully absorbed in building an enormous sand village, with moats and shell houses. Rachel had pushed them all to be ambitious, and was still there beside her, adding a turret. Imogen had sloped away to read her book. Sancerre was burying her dad's feet in the sand as he slept. While Margo looked up, the sky was streaked with vivid pink. The tide was far out, and half the sand was in shadow. I want a photo of the three of you with this. Come on. Obediently, Rachel and Imogen knelt beside Sancerre, the sand village behind them. Margo noticed their new freckles, their beach hair, the patch of red on Sancerre's dimpled thigh, where she had missed the sun cream. Come on, girls. Big smiles. Chapter 1. Sinking. Venice. Imogen watched the door shut behind William, and fell back against the pillows. William liked to get his money's worth at the hotel breakfast buffet, but Imogen had no patience in the mornings for tourists with heads bent over maps, as if in prayer. The solemn hush, the stealing of sly glances at residents as they entered the dining room. Tourists in Venice were so earnest. To please William, Imogen had experimented with breakfast at La Calcina, but all the getting up and down for bits of hard cheese and cold meat, a stale croissant and a cube of butter on ice had made her self-conscious. And the breakfast room was gloomy, with Venetian burgundy and brocade twirls everywhere. There was a certain kind of opulent Italian decor that looked good at night, but in daylight reminded Imogen of a sad and shabby Victorian theatre. Margo had always made them have a big breakfast on holiday, so they could skip lunch for church visits. On cultural trips, Margo had kept them on their feet all day, marching out in front, her strident call of, "Girls!" turning heads on all sides. Imogen remembered being embarrassed by how English Margo sounded, how unmistakably herself. She never seemed to care about the looks she provoked. Heartened by the thought that Margo was not with her now, Imogen threw off her sheets and, like a ghostly blur, spun around the hotel room, clattering open all the shutters. She made so much noise that passers-by glanced up from the canal side below. The waiters, laying out cutlery at the floating restaurant, turned their heads. If they had caught a glimpse of her, they would have seen that she was naked. But before anyone could see more than a flash of skin, Imogen was quickly back under the sheets, basking in the sunlight.